Hey y'all, I am at the birthplace, or the home that is allegedly the birthplace of Tennessee Williams. I do believe he was born in the house, although there are some who believe he was born in a local hospital. I believe it was called Fight Hospital at the time, and it later became Doster Hospital. Anyways, there's the Mississippi sign. This is the home that used to belong to the pastor. It was the rectory at St. Paul's Episcopal Church, and it was moved here to its current position on Main Street and in the corner of Henry Armstrong Way, named for the boxer, in Columbus, Mississippi. Now, what's significant about this home beyond Tennessee Williams has to do with the CBB. And if you follow me on Tom Bigby Tales podcast, you'll know that at one point, the director of the CBB, which is the building back there, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, was also the director of the foundation, which is the Columbus Cultural Heritage Foundation, located in this building. Now, this building is a museum now and a welcome center for our town, and it is manned by volunteers. There is a board, an unpaid board, and then Mrs. Carpenter, the director of the CBB, once was the director of this at the same time that she was the director of the CBB. Well, the board for the CBB was also the one-time board for the Tennessee Williams home, until the Attorney General and the State Ethics Committee came back and said, you know, they used to be okay when you were just starting, but you can't do it now. And so they split the board, and Ms. Carpenter was no longer able to be the director of both places to get paid for it. So she then tried to give away this building back to MDOT. Now, the house used to sit right back there in that church property, and they just moved it forward up to here. And so if anything happens that Columbus can no longer maintain this building, it's to go back to MDOT. So Miss Carpenter, mad that she wasn't going to get paid to work in both places by the CVB, decided that she'd just give it back. Well, the board found out, and they told her no, in uncertain terms, she was not going to give it back. And so they did not lose the building. Fast forward to about 2 weeks ago, and Miss Carpenter had her tenure at the CBB shortened, and she will be required to retire in 6 months. And then she'll get her PERS retirement from the state. Life will go on merrily along the way. Except she didn't like that. So she went to the newly formed CBB's offshoot at the Tennessee Williams home, now called the Columbus Cultural Heritage Foundation, and she had them hire her as their new director. So for the next 6 months, she's double dipping, and she has made promises that she will move all money-making items from the CBB back to the Tennessee Williams home, which is interesting because she had removed all those items from the Columbus Cultural Heritage Foundation and had moved them back to the CVB because she didn't want them to have any of the potential money-making items like the tour bus, or the Columbus tourism for the pilgrimage, which is no longer held within the confines of either organization at this point, as they have become independent. But anyways, I digress. She wasn't happy about that. So now she will take back control of this stage and this property and that building as the director, And unfortunately, they only have a budget of $101,000 this year, of which about $30,000 to $40,000 is set aside for salaries. Well, that's a pretty high percentage. It's considering it's a nonprofit. Nonprofits are supposed to be 25% or less of their overhead is supposed to go toward salaries. So if she gets 30 to 40,000, she's getting 30 to 40% of their income, of their budget for her salary, which is kind of not okay either. But the bigger problem is that despite the Secretary of State and the Attorney General and the Ethics Committee, she's decided she's just going to go ahead and do what she wants anyways and be the director here at the Tennessee Williams Home for the Columbus Cultural Heritage Foundation, as well as at the CVB. The only difficulty is both are considered full-time jobs, and I don't know how she's going to do it. And she has no staff, and she's not used to doing things on her own, so she's been told she cannot use the staff that's paid to work for the CVB to do any of the work at the Cultural Heritage Foundation. And I feel certain she will break that rule if she hasn't already. Anyways, that's a little update. If you want to know more about this, follow my adventures on Tom Bigby Tales. And season 1 is all about the CVB and their multi-million-dollar budget that Nancy Carpenter has been blowing through, and somehow we still don't have any tourists to show for the $3 million or more she's spent already this past year. Thank you for coming with me on my little tour of Columbus, Mississippi. I hope you'll join me on the Tom Bigby Tales podcast. It's listed on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean, and anywhere else that you might listen to your podcast needs. All right, thank you, and have a great day.